Welcome to TestTube, a place where we can share our knowledge through short videos. Even you can contribute to us by making a small video of any problem that you face in your life and how you have solved it. The video can be as short and as simple as possible, and you upload it in your Google Drive and share that link to us through that email that is shown over in this video. This way we can build a rich library having solution to any problem that anybody could possibly face in their life, and they can find a solution over here in this comment space. And by the way, the video will be uploaded with your name on it so that you can have all the credit for this. Thank you. Welcome to TestTube, a place where in this video we are going to see how do we use extent reporting in REST Assured framework. In our previous videos, we have seen how to do assertions, how to read data from Excel, how to write data into Excel, and how to pass the JSON response. So this is all what we have seen, and after doing that, when we run the test case, we will get that result in TESTNG report format. And using this reporter.log events, we can log these into TESTNG reporting. Let me run this one quickly now and show once again how the report looks like. Right, okay, this is running. The response is success, and one test has failed, so it's all right. It is meant to be failed. Now let us see the report. So we have got a default TestNG report generated, and this is how it is going to look. But we see this method is fail and this method is success, and if we see the steps, it has logged why it has failed, which is fine, and it has given the details of how much time it took, and we have seen a summary like one test has passed, one test has failed, zero tests has skipped. So this is all about it, and this is fine to certain extent, but uh, client may be looking for some report which looks cool and which is even more professional and even more beautified report. So that gap which we had now by the TestNG default reporting is going to be filled by extent reporting. Let us see how this is achieved. Okay, so in order to use the extent reporting, what we should have first now is we should have extent reporting plugin installed. So for that, we have to, since this is a Maven project, I have to get the Maven dependency for that to be included in our project. So I open the pom.xml and I have to go to Google and search for extent report Maven dependency. Save so that this dependency is added and the relevant plugins will be updated for this project. We can go to Maven dependencies and we can see the extent report related dependencies being added here. And we can see this jar file related to extent reports is added to our project. So now we can make use of classes that are related to extend reporting and implement it for our testing. Right? I'll show you how this is done. Now we have extend reporting enabled for our project. I'm going to use the classes related to extend reporting. So I have took the same test case, which is get users, the same API, and I'm using the classes related to extend reporting. The main class for using the extend report is extend reports. So I have called it constructor and I have defined an object called ER. This is instance for extend reports, and we have to pass this parameter, which is the path where we wanted to store that extend report. Right? So this is how we initiate an instance for extend report. So I have paths, this path, and this is the path I have defined. So I took my directory path, and to that path I have this folder added, and under this folder I have created, this is already available, which is already storing the TESTNG reports. So in that folder I have added another folder called extend reports, where I will be capturing the extend report for this particular test under this class, which is .java file. So this is having three test cases. Test, this is second test. So I'm going to make them appear in my extend reports. Okay, so it is very simple. You just have to create an instance for extend reporting with the path passed into it. Now I have this object with me, and this object has access to many methods which I wanted to use for report generation. So one of the main methods which we have to use for generating report is we have to start the test first. So we have this start test, and we can give the test name. So we can give the description also over here. And so I have done it already. I have given this test, and if I wanted to add some description, I can add it over here. It is to fetch the user details. So I'm going to say that this test case is used to fetch the user details. So I have added the description, and I have again created an instance for of type extend test. Okay, this is the object of type extend test, which I'm going to use further in my reporting. So using this object instance, I'm going to create some logs for the stuff which I wanted, which I'm executing. So going forward, I'm going to use this instance to log result of a particular step wherever I wanted to see that in my report. Okay, so everything else is going to stay the same. I have used data handler method to read or write the data, like I have done it in my earlier sessions. I have defined the header, I have done the authentication, I have called in the parameters, I have called that action API using get method, and I got the response. So everything stays same. If you want to see, if you want to know about it in even more details, please watch my previous videos, and I have used this object to call the reusable methods, which is write data, to write some data into Excel sheet. I have printed the response. So I have done pretty lot of stuff over here already, and my objective in this case is going to be that I want to log it into my reporting. So I wanted to log this part. So whichever I want to log, I'm going to call it by this object called test. So by calling the test object, I have access to many methods. Based on your requirement, you can use any of these methods which are defined over here. You can set the start time, end time for your test to run, and you can use wait. So there are many lot things which you can use. For now, my interest is to uh, catch a log of the particular step which I am going to run. So I am going to use the log method, right? So using the log method, I have uh, instructed that this particular test is passed, and this is the response that this step has. So now this entire test has one step which is logged into for reporting. Similarly, you can create one more log to be shown in the report by doing like this, and you, you can see this step also presented in your extent report. Okay, and I'm going to write some details that get user responses. So now I'm going to place these two steps in my extent reporting. Okay, and I'm mentioning them as fail, as pass. So what? This is just an example, but in ideal cases, you're going to do some assertion, and based on the assertions, you are going to write that that particular has passed or failed, like we have done it here in my other test case, uh, where I have asserted something, or where I have manually verified something and decided that it should be passed or failed, right? So like this, to make a meaningful sense to your validation, you have to ideally do it this way. So when this is passed, you can use the test.log, show it as pass, and display the message. If it is a failure, you can do test.log and say the status as failure and give the reason for failure. So this is just an example, so I'm not going to do any such validation. I'm merely going to print. I'm merely going to show that how to get them into your reporting. Alright, so this is done for this test, and similarly we are going to do the same for another test. I mm, have chosen the same folder for this also to be reported under. So I'm going to use the same report, uh, integrate with ExtentReporting.html to reflect these two test cases in the report. Correct. So again, I have used test log. Okay, this is like I said, to make it more meaningful, I have captured the logs based on the actual validation I wanted to do. This is done in this test case. I didn't remember it. Okay, so now if this is correct, then it will log it as a pass step. If it is failing with the validations, it is going to log it as a failure in my second test case. Alright, now after that, we have to end that test, because the test is over now, so we have to end the test, and we have to fetch the report and close the report. So that will give perfect sense, like starting the reporting and starting the test, invoking the report, starting the test, closing the test, flushing the report, and closing the report finally. So these are the steps involved in extent reporting. Alright, so now let me run these two tests and see how it is getting reported into. We see that there are no failures and both the test cases are success. Now let us see, let us go to this part and see our extent report. test output, extend reports, and this is our extend report. So you can see that the result is displayed for the two test cases, get users and post user extend reporting, right? In the first test, we have captured it for two steps. Okay, let me go to this get users. In get users, I have logged in this step and this step. So I have logged in two steps. One is to capture the result, and second one is to capture the status code. See, get users response is, and it has permitted the response. That is one step. And get users response code is 200. That is the second step. And in my other test case, which is post user, again I have captured one is this one. Okay, I have captured two steps. One is the response code, and the other one is a message. So one is this response code as 201. The other one is user created successfully message, and I got the time over here. So this is how this is done, and we can see over here as well. It is total two tests that are run, and there are four steps that are run, like two steps for each test case, time taken, etc. And we can see pie chart as well. We can see how many steps are passed. Also, we can see the percentage of completion, pass percentage is 100, right? This is more beautiful than our TESTNG default reporting, right? So that is the use of extent reporting. And now let us see the same for a failure case. Okay, let me keep it as 200. Now we should go to else statement, and it should display it as failed, and it has to log the status as failed with this message. Now let's see that's going to happen or not. And also, there's one more point I'll explain just after this one. Okay, this is done. Okay, now we can see get user is passed, whereas post user is failed. Okay, it has failed and it has displayed the message as unable to create the user. So now we understand this has worked even for failures as well, and we can see the same in the, reflected in the pie charts as well. We have two tests out of which one is passed, one is failed. In total steps, one is failed, three are passed. Sorry, two are passed and one is failed. So total steps are going to be three. Alright, so this is how this is done. And if you notice, there is small difference on how do I initiate the extend reporting. So in the first method, if you notice, I have instantiated this constructor by passing only one argument, which is the path to extend report. Whereas in the second method, you would notice that I have instantiated uh, this class with two arguments. One is the path and the second argument as false. So what does it mean? So when you say that it to false, what it is going to do is it is going to append the report. Like we see here, first it has generated a reporting for this one, And the next time when I have passed this argument with false, what it has done is it hasn't overwritten this report. Instead, it has appended the report with the second test case. And that's why once the entire run is completed for this class, you are able to see both the test cases appearing in your report. If you have removed this statement false, by default it is going to take it as true. So when you run this, what will happen is first reporting is generated for this one, and for the second time when reporting is generated for this test, since we haven't inserted extend report, what it's going to do is it's going to override the report with the result of this particular test case. Okay, now let us see it in with a practical test run. I have run this one and I have removed this one, this argument which was false over here, the second argument. Now let us notice what happened to the report. We see both the tests are success now. Let me refresh. And now let me open the report. Okay, we see the third report is generated. You see only report for second test is reflected over here. So that's the importance of calling the second argument, and that should be false, which means do not override the extent report. Alright, so this is very important that if you wanted to use the extent reporting to its full ability. Alright, so that's all for this video. Please do like and share your comments so that I know if I have to improve something, if I have to make the videos even more better. That will help me. And also don't forget to subscribe for more videos.
If you have any videos like this, please upload them in your Google Drive and share that link to us in that email given over here so that we can upload it for you with your name on it. And that way we can build a common repository where anybody can find solution to the problems which they are facing. Thanks for your support and please subscribe to this channel if you wanted to see more videos like this. Bye.